Hi guys, and welcome to season 2 of the Someone Had to Say It podcast. Confetti everywhere. There's no actual confetti.
Yeah, but imaginary confettis.
As you can see, some things have changed.
Yeah.
A couple of things have changed.
New vibe.
You have changed too.
Well, as you can see,
more than just the setup, you have also been set up.
Wow!
But it's for a good reason.
Really?
In case you are not getting the joke, but just you will get it eventually.
Anyway.
Yeah. But how have you been? How has it been since between the end of season 1 and season 2? How have you been?
I've been good.
Yeah.
A lot has happened.
I've been treating you well.
Yeah, I've been cooking, as you can see.
Yes.
And it's been amazing. I think for me personally, I've gotten the chance to leveraging the break to plan, of course, for season 2, plan for next year, plan for this new phase of parenting that is at hand for us. And I think it's just been a beautiful season, and it's amazing that we get to do this to continue to connect to people, our audience, so that there isn't that long stretch of lack of presence. So it's been a privilege, and I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back.
And as always, this would always remind me to be, appreciative of everybody that does something like this, everybody who goes all the way to making sure that they are producing good stuff that people can listen to and enjoy. It's a lot of work, trust me. But we are here and we can't wait to dig in. So
how have you been, and what have you been up to?
Of course, beyond the obvious, I've been up to, I've been writing more, I've been recording videos more, thank you for the boosts and all of that. A lot of things here and there. There's been work, there's been family, so many things going on at the same time. But it was a very well needed break, helpful break too, and I believe that this time around is also going to be even more amazing than season 1 was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about today's topic. Should we dig in?
Let's do this
right away. Yes. I'm sure you guys know what time it is. If you don't know, that means you've not watched season 1.
Yeah.
So please make sure you catch up. It's time for the red
shoe box. Okay, so for those who don't know, the red shoe box is our tradition on the Someone Had to Say podcast.
Yeah.
We have questions coming. We put it in here.
If I were you, I'll not even tell them. If you don't know, please go and watch season 1.
No, let's be nice.
Okay,
it's a new season, right?
Sorry.
We jiggle and then we randomly pick out a question which we will tackle for that particular episode. So, are you ready?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay. Let's go.
So, jiggle.
All right. Let's see.
Okay.
Yes, so today we are going to be discussing why infidelity is thriving in our generation.
That's a hot topic.
A very, very hot one.
The side chick economy. Or
nice one.
The side guy economy.
Is side guy a word? Like, do people actually say side guy?
I just made it up so it can be
balanced. To balance the equation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, that's a very, very interesting one. So, let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
What do you think that people are searching for, especially couples, speaking specifically to couples? What do you think people are searching for, married people are searching for when they cheat on their spouses?
That's a deep question. And I don't think it's one answer. Because
absolutely.
People have different backgrounds, people have different traumas, people have different desires. So sometimes it's hard to pin it to one thing. But I know that for the large part, it's because people are seeking to fill a hole. People are seeking to fill a gap. And on some levels, some people are not used to the rhythm that marriage calls for or a committed relationship calls for.
Okay.
Some people are not used to that level of stability. So sometimes when they get with somebody, there's commitment, they have a rhythm, they start to get bored. And they get threatened by that boredom, they now start to seek thrills out there. If you dig deeper on some levels, it could be driven by lack of secure attachment at an early age. Because a person who is securely attached to say, parent or a trusted primary caregiver, you are sort of wired to be comfortable with seeking validation from the person that matters the most.
Who in this case is who?
I mean, children. Okay. Like, that's background, speaking from a background point of view. So a child who gets that secure attachment from the father or mother knows that, look, it's okay for me to get my validation from 1, 2 trusted persons. But if that is missing, it's just natural that as they grow and they get into committed relationship, they don't know how to be comfortable in that setting.
Okay.
So when there's, like I said, there's a rhythm, there is a flow, husband and wife, they start to, in like 2, 3 years, 4, 5, whatever the case may be, they start to get bored. They start to confuse that stability for something that
like you are being
boxed, like something, something needs to be fixed. I need to get this validation from somebody else. If I'm not with somebody, then I'm not sure if I've still got it. So as a woman, you probably are desiring validity from another man. Or as a man, you need ladies to be flocking around you to still remind you that you are still that guy. Sometimes it's
just the spirit of Shino, and it's not validity.
No, it is, but if you dig deeper, there's something so people are trying to feel. Because on another angle, even people who have that jumping around
promiscuous. For those who don't understand what Shino means, promiscuity.
We all have that desire for loyalty too, and that's why even the most promiscuous of people still mourn friendships that they've lost. So you see how even people can get very territorial around friendships. So it means that as promiscuous as you are, you still on something.
As they are, not me.
Not you. As they are, there's still that innate desire and longing for loyalty, that somebody wants me, somebody wants to stay with me, regardless of what happens, regardless of the length of time. So I think in the depth of it is trauma and the lack of something. People are seeking to fulfill or feel something that they are not even, they can't place yet. So that's what I think.
I mean, I agree with that. But while you were speaking, I could think of another perspective. And this one may speak specifically to men, because I mean, that's the angle I can relate with from a tangible perspective. I think that most times, when it comes to marriage, some people have the privilege of falling in love and then marrying the person they're in love with, and that's sometimes you don't really understand how much of a game changer that can be for you. Now, I'm not saying that even that is infidelity proof. We will get into all of that. But there's this perspective that I want us to explore, in that when a man starts getting older and he gets into the phase that people often refer to as the marriageable age, his strategy for marriage changes from just attraction-based to now strategy-based, basically. So now at this point, he has gotten to a timeline where it is time for me to get married. That's the next frontier. That's the next phase for his life. So at that phase, he's not necessarily looking for somebody who is his soulmate.
It's not emotionally driven.
No, emotions are involved, but not in the sense that it is whole and complete. He's not necessarily looking for somebody who is compatible with him in terms of vision, in terms of ideology. Those are elements there, but at this point, I'm just looking for somebody who can be by my side, who can fit that wife profile. And as long as there's a physical attraction, I think a large proportion of ladies would be able to fit into that mold. So what I'm basically saying is that the criteria for me, not me actually, the criteria for a guy, say, getting married to a lady when he's younger and it is not a requirement for his life, is much more higher. He's looking for chemistry, somebody he connects with, somebody he vibes with, somebody that is his friend, his person, even though there's also that attraction. But further down the line, when you have got to that point where, see, marriage is the next point of call for my life, at that point, you are much more flexible with the criteria. You are looking for a good girl. You are looking for somebody who has decent morals. You are looking for, so as long as you find a lady that has, I mean, you people, you can object to my perspective, but I've noticed this happen a lot of times. So once you find a lady who can fit into that mold, who can take care of the home, who can do all of those things, it's not even looking at her own career ambitions and stuff like that, but a lady that can be that wife. The next thing, once he's attracted to her, she's a candidate for marriage. So if he talks to you, you don't agree, he does not have your time, you can get off, look for the next person. So maybe when he's younger, he can still be chasing you up and down, you know, romance my love, you know, I will chase you, I will run after you. By the time when he's so people always say that people feel like it's only ladies that look at the clock. No, men look at the clock too. They just look at it in a different way. I feel like when ladies look at the clock, they feel like the walls are closing. For a man, on the other side, it's like the options are expanding. So now it's not really about, okay, there are some, now it's now, see, let me just find a lady that can fit this profile. I would mold her. Exactly, because he probably feels like I will mold her into what I need her to be.
Wow.
Now, the loophole in this is that men are not trained to fall in love as a requirement for them to get married. And even in a relationship, a romantic guy is identified by performative actions, the things he does. He provides, he takes me out, he takes care of me. When I call him, he's available. Not from his emotional needs. So a lady sees a guy who is present, who is calling her every day, who is texting her every day, who is taking her out, who is checking up on her, who is doing things you generally call acts of service, as a guy who is in love. But a lady who is in love in that same relationship, she's more expressive, she's emotional, she's jealous when she sees a guy with another lady, and society allows for her to express that jealousy. But if a guy sees his babe with another guy, and the natural impulse, the emotional part of him that should feel some type of way about that scenario, he also has to second guess it immediately, like, man no suppose they feel all these things are just baby things. So the emotional side of a guy is made to be docile where all these things are concerned. And I feel like that now becomes a problem in marriage, because now, let me say this, it is possible for a man to still be doing the things he's supposed to do as your husband, even though he's not in love with you. Because many of the things a guy is supposed to do is task. It is functional.
Ladies, are we hearing? Because
yeah, it is very, very possible.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a man can be going through a lot emotionally. The woman may not know. Because when he's good, he looks the same way. When he's down, he looks the same way. So that's variation in your emotional expression as a guy. Society does not really allow you to connect with that part of you. So even when a man is detached from his marriage, the only ingredients you may use to know is sex. That, okay, maybe it's no longer. And by that time, if that's what he's telling you, it's already too late. He's far gone. So that's what happens most of the time. And I feel like sometimes infidelity is triggered, especially in unsuspecting instances, when life is funny. Because eventually you would meet people you really do connect with.
That's from a man's point of view.
From a man's point of view. People you actually do vibe with. Now, the things that you...
Sorry, and that's when you start to hear things like, I wish I'd met you before my wife.
Thank you very much. I was about to even get to that point. So, the things that when the younger version of you, the teenage love version of the guy was looking for in a relationship and all those things, you know? At that point now, maybe it's one intern at work or one ET that just joined the company and stuff like that. And you're now starting to see that, oh, this girl, first of all, she's hot, she's attractive. Now, she likes the same things that you like. She loves the same kind of movies you love. We can gist. Exactly. Our conversations are going on non-stop. Things that you and your wife don't have in common. You and your wife is just, how is it? How are the kids? How is the home? And stuff like that. And you now see that I actually vibe with this lady. That is when problem starts. Because now, you have now find the kind of person that your heart can actually connect with in the right way without it being pressured. Because a guy naturally does not want that aspect of him to be mirrored upon, to be zoomed into. But men actually do have emotional needs. I think that's the long and short of all this story that I'm saying. But as a society, we make it seem like something that is secondary. Men are also emotional. But then we have been cultured and taught to thrive without expressing our emotions. So you can get married for years, you do all the things. Your wife will be saying that, wow, my husband is the best thing since sliced bread. Ask her, what does he do? It's performative. He takes me out, he takes care of the kids, he buys things for me, he's there when I need him. But if you as a babe, and these things are practical, if you as a lady, you've not texted your boyfriend for 24 hours, and it's one of two things, and he does not feel the need to actually, and you are not even, there's no passive aggression. When he eventually texts you, how are you? I'm fine. All those one. I feel like those things are actually symbols of emotional attachment. It means I missed you. So now, and I'm feeling in a vulnerable state, but society does not allow us as men to acknowledge those emotions. It's like, now man, you're not supposed to feel like this. So even if your babe has not texted you since morning, you are not supposed to let her know that it's paining you.
People are going through a lot.
Exactly. You are not supposed to allow her know that it's paining you. So you just be like, hey babe, I know you've been busy, blah, 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 blah. Let's meet up at, so and so restaurant. Just shove it up. Or even if you are going to talk about this, you'll be like, I don't really like talking about these things, but I feel you should have texted me. No, you see, that's even how you would address it. He will not tell you that, see, he pained me. He pained me that he did not text me this morning. So I think that's actually something we need to lean more into, because sometimes infidelity is caused by that emotional absence of that emotional connectedness. When you now find it outside, problem starts. So because I feel not a lot of people go into marriage premeditating that, by year 5, I'm done. By year 5, I'll just pause. No, it doesn't work that way. So, I mean.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When are you going to host that men's masterclass?
Please, let's come back.
Because this is someone has to say all of this you just said is like amazing. But I mean, we can't change the topic we started with, but that was amazing. We do need to have another session to dive right into it.
I mean, there's a lot of
dive
things,
into the men's world, because I mean, this is eye-opening, but amazing stuff. Really amazing.
Thank you so much. So that will lead to my next question. Why do you think, as a society, because even today, it seems like infidelity is glamorized, it is packaged in so many ways. In pop culture and entertainment, you see artists living a lifestyle of, multiple baby mama lifestyle. You see people that are influencers in some way. There's this whole pushing of the whole single mom narrative. Now, I'm not saying that single momism is the same as, is automatically equal to infidelity. But then you should also notice the fact that the number of ladies who are fine with dating married men, who are like wealthy and stuff like that, and they're just fine with that lifestyle. So why do you think that culture is increasingly becoming normal?
I think looking at history and just looking at how we evolve as a society, when an ideology wants to become pervasive, what you would see is apathy, number one.
Explain apathy. Some people don't know what apathy is.
So basically, apathy is the lack of the emotions that were once associated with it. That blurring of the line between good and bad, right? That's, you start to see gray area. People start to become desensitized to it. And then we start to give it new names. And that, giving it new names also helps with desensitization. So you'd see infidelity today. People hardly even say infidelity. People can be right in the heat and the middle of that act, and they will call it a fling. Or they will call it situationship. Or they will call it just vibing, having a nice time. So when you use words like that, it triggers apathy. You don't have the same strong emotions that you have towards it. And I think as a society, we need to realize that the reasons why we do or don't do some things is because there are some emotions attached to it. We know if I do this publicly or people are aware of it, there is a stigmatization, there is a shame associated with it. I mean, people don't go around stealing in broad daylight because there are consequences attached to it. If today that ceases to exist, if today you can just, somebody upset you and you just unalive them, and there's no consequence for it. What does that mean? It means that anybody can do it and get away with it. But the reason why you don't see that happen today is because there are grave consequences for doing that. Yeah. So I think that's why it's become pervasive, right? And of course, it's glamorized. And when something is glamorized, what do you expect? People just think it's the way to go. And there's also something called herd mentality. And because we need to understand that these are basic sociological wirings of people as humans. And that's how anything that was once considered bad, that now is popular, like, mainstream, it follows this pattern. And I think we need to, as a people, begin to ask ourselves questions. Why we do the things we do? What are the values? What value system do we want to uphold, right? Because deep down, everybody wants a level of commitment, but nobody wants to put in the work, right? So people want the benefit of marriage, but they don't want the commitment of marriage. Also because they've been negative examples, right? People are like, you know what, if this is what marriage is about, then I'd rather not want to be a part of it. But then you want the benefit of companionship. Excuse me. So I think that's the reason why it's become so pervasive. People are desensitized about it. A person can know that their friend is having an affair with a married person, and they can't even have conversations about it, because we're now in an era of relativism, right? So it means your truth is your truth. Just do you. You can't call people out again. Exactly. Like it's that worrisome. You can't call people out because you're like, you know what, whatever works for you. We can't live in a realm of relativism and stay sane as a people. There has to be that clear-cut understanding of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. And until we get there, we as humans will keep pushing the frontiers. And today, even what we frown upon, if we're not careful, in the next 5-10 years, will be accepted just because people decide to live their lives that way. Okay. So we need to really be careful and I think address the root cause. So the root cause is not necessarily infidelity, but the way we live now as a people. So we need to have objective truth that this is wrong, this is right, so that we can call ourselves out and, just do the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I think to just add to what you had said, I think that morality is questionable if there isn't an overarching basis for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We must remember that the fundamental principle of marriage itself is something that we as Christians believe God created, God ordained. And what makes it practical is that consciousness. People would often say that, humans are just higher level animals, and even use it as an excuse for infidelity, that it's impractical for a man to be faithful to one woman sexually and stuff like that, that it goes against your biological wiring. Well, you may have a point if all you have to live your life by is your biological wiring, because even naturally, your biological wiring will tell you to defend yourself. Your biological wiring is selfish. It is just your default survival instinct. So if you have not killed your colleague at work, because they promoted them over you to get ahead of them, it means that there's something guarding the way you see life and has eliminated that option, even though for your survival, it actually is an option. So we must realize that our evolution from primitive thinking is guided by certain moral ideologies. And if those morals are no longer considered to be valid, it crumbles down. Now, where the jeopardy now comes in for religion versus social ideals, where these things are concerned, is that for a while, many of us had religious worldviews. So, and even before then, there was a time where polygamy was normalized. There are a lot of things going on at the same time. Did I say legalized or normalized? Okay, like people didn't really frown on polygamy as they would do now, especially with the emergence of feminism and things like that. It sort of made being married to multiple women less of an appealing ideal. I'm speaking socially now, of course, not in time. We know what Christianity requires us to do. So some people will still argue with that oneself that I just said, but it's a topic for another day. So now, with all of these things happening at the same time, some people are now also conflicted with the reality of their life. And you now realize that your moral is just a token in the grand scheme of things. So the question I have for us as individuals is to ask ourselves, what exactly am I willing to give up to get ahead? Because if I feel like, oh, because of how the economy is treating me, to get ahead, because I want such life without the commitment, I can be with a man that is married, as long as he's taking care of his wife, he's taking care of me. What's the problem? And I don't want to make it an only female thing, because there are also guys who latch onto married women because they have money and are fine with that lifestyle. So if you can find a way to justify your actions based on what it gets you, then your morality is subjective. So that's why I feel like even the concept of marriage, of faithfulness, of commitment is not practical if you don't have a godly worldview of how that is supposed to work. You just live off of survival. So does that mean that if my marriage to you does no longer benefit me, I have an option outside? If that is what is just guiding me, then that means that my moral is subject to review at every point in time. So when times are good, they are the values I live by. When times are bad, they are the values I live by. So if it is seesaw like that, if it is something that is always swinging,
it's not even
exactly, it's not firm. So now we live in an era where people are seeing these things as liberty, as liberation, as, oh, yes, you are living. But then at the end of the day, it's like we are now finding ourselves going back to the things that we said was old school and archaic. You do say, okay, before it was polygamous. Now that one, it was legal. At least the man married all the women. Now it is, you are married to one woman and you have multiple side chicks. So it's the same reality replicating itself. We are we just found a way to call it a different name and stuff like that. So my next question would now be about, let's look at it, let's zoom into this generation, and even let's give it a more Christian perspective. Do you feel like our views on commitment as a people, as a generation, do you think it's more shaky now than it used to be before?
I think so. I think so to a large extent. And I think it also speaks to the things that we uphold as ideal, right? And we need to be very careful. So things we uphold as ideals in this time are things like adventure, things like self-love, things like if you want it, just go for it. Things like you only live once, you know, even things as cheesy as don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband. So, yeah. So I think
sorry. So what if it's your husband that is stopping you from finding the love of your life?
Honest, I've seen that one. No, I'm serious. I actually saw it last week. Don't let your husband stop you. So, and these things can seem like jokes, but you have no idea how it's directing the course of somebody's life. And that's why we need to be careful, even what we put out there jokingly. Somebody might have, the person that said it might be happily married, might have sense, but just vibes and what do they call it?
Hot take, 1 minute not yet.
And it was just supposed to be a joke. But somebody somewhere who has a shaky value system would read that and they may not even realize, they will internalize it and be like, you know what? I may be married to this man and I didn't know better at the time I married him. So therefore, I'm not going to allow him to stop me from my future happiness. And the thing is, if these are the ideals that we uphold in this time where there's you know, a lot of information, there is enlightenment. I think it's just natural. And you see that how these things kind of oppose commitment. Self-love is an amazing ideal. But there's a way you talk about self-love that it starts to conflict the idea of commitment, which means when it gets tough, you're allowed to pull out because of self-love, forgetting that in marriage, there's something called for better, for worse.
They won't change
Marriage,
that. People don't say those vows anymore.
I mean, because marriage is a covenant, and people don't understand the idea of covenant. Covenant means you are bound until it's death that nullifies the covenant. Like, it's that serious, and people don't understand that. Another one is adventure.
Yeah.
Adventure is a good ideal, exploration. But there's a way you talk about adventure, exploration, you internalize it, that it starts to shake what the understanding of commitment should be, because commitment means lifelong. Commitment means it is stable.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So I think it's just natural that people's understanding of commitment is faulty.
True.
And I really believe that people should not be getting married if they don't understand what the idea of marriage should be. Man did not create marriage. Marriage is and was originally God's idea for a man and a woman to come together and do life together. You know, so I think it starts from there, really. You know, God's idea for marriage did not change just because we're in the 21st century, and it's not going to change, right? And that's why people need to be clear on what they are getting into. And I think maybe because of the setting that marriage happens, because it's joyful, it's a lot of celebration. So that message is lost in transit. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I mean, in some traditional worship, when people are cutting covenant, it is solemn, it is scary, it is, I don't know if there's a better word, but like it is airy, for lack of a better word, because people understand something is happening.
Yes.
There is two people are making a promise that cannot be broken. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So people just really need to understand, and we need to go back to the real meaning of what it means to be committed, or what commitment means.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I will just add that I do agree that it seems like the concept of commitment is beginning to lose its touch for a couple of reasons. And some of the things I feel corroborates that is how people I've seen people try to stay true to the commitments they made, maybe their parents, and they didn't see them have it go well.
Yeah.
And while those experiences are valid, I mean, the experience of whoever has seen marriages fail in the past, I don't think the fact that something wasn't done properly means we should throw it away.
Yeah.
I think our focus should go into ensuring that we are entering into marriage right. We are becoming better people, fit to execute the ministry of marriage the way it was intended by God to be executed, rather than creating more options of escape. So it seems to me like we are becoming more liberal with the exits than we are with reinforcing the fabric of what we were supposed to begin this journey with in the first place.
Honestly.
So we have a lot of broken people, broken systems. Wow. So it's not the infidelity and all of those is like a fruit, but the root cause is the systemic breakdown in people's orientations, people's values, people's expectations, even distortion in terms of what sex is supposed to feel like, what love is supposed to feel like, what family is supposed to feel like, what sacrifice is supposed to feel like, what focusing more on self-aggrandizement than we are on being caring and compassionate and kind. And it would be one-sided if somebody who even has the right ideals ends up with the wrong person. So a kind person ending up with a selfish person leads to a bad marriage. So we need more people to be good people so that we can establish the way that this thing was supposed to be. Because now, if we are becoming more soft on divorce and saying that, you know what, if you are in an abusive relationship, don't worry, you can get out and stuff like that. Yes, something led us to that point. But our focus should also be stronger on ensuring that we are not even producing abusive relationships in the first place.
So the entry requirements needs to be beefed up.
The energy we are putting into fixing. I'm not saying we should tone down the fixing. We should keep that energy. But I feel like we would get more impactful results if we put as much energy into that entry point, into people getting into relationships, into people making sure that they know that they're actually ready for the journey of marriage before they get into it. You know, we are not just about, oh, I like you, you like me, that's all we need, and we get into it.
Some people should actually not be getting married yet, or until certain things are addressed, because marriage, there's no corrective serum inside marriage. It's not like at the point you exchange rings, like there's just a corrective serum.
You become a new person.
Like you're the same person. Exactly. So some people should actually, and even it's even scriptural, and Paul says that, look, not everybody should actually get married. Exactly. And that's fine.
That's also another thing.
Yeah,
that's
not everybody should. It should not be, it's not a cultural decision. It's not an age-driven decision.
Exactly.
It's am I set and fit
for this? That's awesome. Yeah. So in closing, is there anything you'd like our audience to leave this particular episode with? Any particular specific lesson you'd want them to leave with?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just to re-echo our understanding of what faithfulness, ideals like faithfulness, commitment means. And I believe that on some level, if you know, I'm not at that, I understand what it means, but I'm not fit to execute this, I think it's okay to take a pause. As if as a man, you understand what it truly means to love your wife, and you're like, I'm not cut out for this because this my life is just one, and I want to leave it for myself. It's okay to not get married because the requirements to love demands of you the need to lay down your life for your wife, for your family, if the situation ever calls for it. Like, you are getting into it knowing that this is a requirement. If the need ever calls for it, if there is danger, there is need for protecting, I'm supposed to step on the front line for it. And as a woman, the call to submit, the call to support, look, based on my upbringing, based on my experiences, I'm not fit to execute this in the way God has designed. It's okay to actually say, you know what, I want to take a pause. I want to work on myself, or maybe I'm not called to do this. So because the intent for marriage is not just procreation. It's actually not, because you can procreate and raise damaged children that now wreak havoc to society on the long run because they've not been raised right. So I think we need to go back to our understanding of these things, to what the requirement or what the intent for relationship, dating, courtship is. Let's not just assume. Remember, it's not age-based. It's not like formal education from primary school to high school to college. No. So, and then you feel like the next thing is a relationship, and then the next thing is marriage. Let's actually sit down and understand what these things mean, the intent for it, so that we can execute it right. And I think for me, that's like the biggest thing I want people to leave here with.
Awesome. For me, to let people know that infidelity doesn't just happen all of a sudden. The act itself may be suddenly, but the seeds that would eventually materialize into it is an ongoing process. You may be indulging in things right now as a single person that will lead to infidelity in your marriage. Yeah. So you need to make sure that where character is involved, where having the right perspective is involved, where being a person of honor, honoring your commitments are involved, you are grounded in that. That's number one. Number two is, while you are doing all of that, is to not also feel like you have arrived and that nothing can ever happen. The confidence I have today is in knowing that, number one, I have the right values. Number two, I have the right expectations, and I'm putting the right guardrails in place to make sure I don't even find myself in a compromising situation. Because there's also a slopey side where you now feel like, okay, you have come to a point where you feel like, see, there's nothing that can ever cause me to fall into this kind of temptation.
Maybe I really love my wife.
I love my wife too much. I can go anywhere. I can be with anybody. Nothing is going to happen. So you also need to work with wisdom. It's a continuous process. It is something you have to consciously and subconsciously guard against. The subconscious guarding is in making sure that you are making your home a fortress that you always want to go to and you always find love in. That's the subconscious guarding. The conscious guarding is to make sure that you are not associating yourself with the people that can jeopardize what it is you are trying to build in your home in the first place. Whether it's by friends giving bad advice, whether it's by staying around ladies that you know that eventually something can happen or stuff like that. So we all need to be guarded, and I'm hoping and believing God that in our generation we would build more homes that glorify God in every way.
Amen.
Yeah, it's a nice comeback episode.
Yeah, beautiful one.
Yes. So thank you so much for being a part of episode 1, season 2 of Someone Had to Say It.
Yeah.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other place you get this from. Follow us on social media, on Instagram and on TikTok, and please click the subscribe button and bring more people to join you next time.
That's right.
Thank you for being on this episode.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Someone had to say it. Someone had to say it. Voices rise, we can't delay it.